It's one of the cards that I hate most, not because of the card itself, but because it's always interpreted as sorrow, heartbreak, or something. But that doesn't quite fit the energy of the swords, the energy of the mind and the rational. If you ever had your heart broken, you know that that's something completely irrational. So yeah, I don't agree with the usual interpretation of this card, and I tried to make it a bit better in my own deck. And this is what I came up with. Welcome back to this channel. Today we are focusing on the threes and the Empress or the Queen in Tarot. So they are called, the next prototype will be in English, it's almost finished. Departure, Fertility, Decision, Practice, and the Queen. Just to recapitulate quickly, in the last video of this type, we had the twos and the High Priestess or Nixie, which are called opportunity, connection, doubt, and balance. I am a very big fan of interpreting the meaning of the cards in connection, not only with the element, but also with their progression in the numbers. So if we look at the numbers, the twos are, or 2 is an even number, 3 is an odd number. Even numbers are always a bit more quiet, more passive, have a more feminine energy. Not much is happening there. And you might see they all look rather dynamic, especially this one, the doubt. And you know that when you have doubt in your mind, we are in the element of the mind here, when you have doubt in your mind, there's a lot going on. Your mind just can't rest at all. But no action is taken and nothing is actually happening. It's just in your mind. So now with the threes, we come to an odd number. Something is always odd there, or even off. Something is happening. And let's stick with the 3 of spades and the 2 of spades for a second. This one is just standing there really centered, but it's called decision. A decision is made where he was torn between the 2 spades in this picture, even tied to this one, which is probably in the past, and this one that you can't really see coming from the future, probably. Here he is centered. He's got these 2 spades on his shoulders like the angel and devil just chatting away. But a decision is made. He's quite content with what he's got there in his hands. So even though this is the quieter picture, something is happening or has just happened in this image. It's a bit similar here with the diamonds. The balancing puppet is, one of the keywords is juggling these two options or 2 alternatives, trying to connect them somehow. Probably juggling is a very active act, no doubt, but it doesn't get you anywhere. If you just juggle for hours and hours, you have just juggled for hours. Whereas this one, practice is something that moves you forward. In this picture, I think he has left the smaller diamond behind, is happy holding this medium-sized diamond, and you can see the direction he's progressing towards the large diamond, which is just coming into the picture from the future. The left is always the past and the right is the future, at least in my interpretation. The 3 of hearts, fertility, is obviously not a very active act, but the card still has a very active component, but we'll come to that later. This one is one of the most active cards in the whole deck, I think. You can see the puppet completely shaded from behind, so he's moving towards the light, towards the future, and also upwards, and the shadows are falling behind him, so he's left the shadows of the 2 and the very creepy Nixie behind, and now he's found 1 club as a stepping stone. He's taking this 2nd club with him in his stride, and he's moving towards this 3rd large one, and maybe he's even pulled into this direction from something outside him, something beyond his control or hers. They are not male or female, they're just puppets. As with all the cards, the number has its own theme, and the pip cards interpret this theme in their world, in their element. For the 3, we'll come to that in a second, the theme is that something is taking shape. And then we have the element of fire, water, air, and earth, interpreting that. The elements stand for will, your spark, your creativity, your drive. Then your heart, your emotions, also your unconscious, your soul. The spades, the element of air, stands for the mind, the rational thinking, everything logical. The diamonds, earth, stand for the material, and they are the only ones taking concrete action in the real world. So here we have the will, the heart, the mind, and our actions. And then we have the trump card depicting or personifying this theme with an archetype. And the archetype of the queen or empress is a motherly figure, the mother. Everything the elements bring in is important. You need the drive, you need a kind of fertility, you need to be in it with your heart. You also need your mind, you need to make conscious decisions. And of course, you also have to practice to actually do something. Things are never taking shape just by thinking or just by manifesting. You always have to take action. That's what tarot wants to tell us. We always need our 4 elements to be able to move on and to master the lessons of life depicted by the trump cards. And I'll just give you the keywords for these 5 cards of the 3s. And please keep in mind that keywords, or even the titles on the cards, they are just names. Never focus on the keywords. The images of the cards are so much more important. The keywords are just there to help your mind get started and get you on the way if you can't find the words for yourself at this very moment. Tarot is not a science, it's a chat with your unconscious. The cards just help you in this conversation with yourself. I just add the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith cards again. So the 3 of clubs is called departure. It's about setting off, firm choices, forward momentum, and confidence. The 3 of hearts or 3 of cups is called fertility. It's about being open, allowing, trusting, and allowing things to unfold. The 3 of spades or 3 of swords is called decision. It's about right and wrong, knowing, understanding, and conscious choice. Just another note on the traditional card. Since this is not about the heart and heartbreak, it's probably about the mind overpowering the heart. When you realize that that guy you are so terribly in love with and who is the charming prince on the white horse is actually just an asshole. Your mind knows it, but your heart can't realize it yet. That's what this card is about. This one is about decision and conscious choice. The 3 of diamonds or 3 of pentacles is called practice. It's about persistence without perfection. Very important, no perfection here. Improving and refining your skills. And the Empress in the Creative Tarot is called the Queen. She's about support, benevolence, the right path, fertility, and help. Let's just take a second to look at the numbers of tarot from a geometric point of view. I'll tell you more on that in the next episode of the diary next week. First, we have 0, the Fool, and 0 looks like this. There's just nothing. But nothing also means that everything is open and everything is possible. Nothing is fixed yet. Then there's the number 1, that's the Magician, and his pip cards, the Aces. And you haven't seen them yet, probably. In the Creative Tarot, they are called Energy, Dream, Idea, and the Beginning, according to the elements. They are the first thing that we realize, an idea or a dream that just comes to us out of the blue. And 1 in geometry is this, a dot. You can't do much with 1 dot. It doesn't have a shape, it doesn't have direction, it's just a dot. But something is there, just like a little seed that you put into the ground. And it can go in any direction. Everything is possible with just 1 dot. Next are the 2s, the Nixie, and the cards that you've just seen. Opportunity, connection, doubt, and balance. Geometrically, the 2 add a second dot. What can we do with the 2 dots? Well, we can draw a line that is a connection, but a single line can also be a divider between 2 sides. It can have a direction, like the direction up or the direction down, and it does have a kind of level. I can draw a line here, I can draw a line down here. It also has a size. I can draw a long line, I can draw a short line. All these lines connect 2 dots, so that's the 2 in geometry. Now with the 3, something interesting happens. Let me just draw 3 dots. And no matter how I draw 3 dots, they will always form a triangle. And the triangle after the 1 dot and the line is the first actual shape. So that's why I say 3 is about something taking shape. Now we have an actual object. It's still a 2-dimensional object that can change with the next card, with the 4s. 4 is the king, and I will show you his pip cards in the next episode of this kind. So now we have a 2-dimensional object. We have a shape. This first shape, in a way, is also still only a beginning because you can't do anything else with 3 dots. No matter how you connect them, you end up with a triangle. Or if you put them in one line, you still have a line, but then you don't have a shape. It's different. Just take a look into the future. If we have 5 dots, you have a lot of ways to connect 5 dots. This way you have a kind of wonky pentagon. You can draw a crazy line. And of course, you can also connect them and draw a pentagon or a pentacle. Or, still the same, you can draw a kind of star shape. So you have much more possibilities. Please don't judge me on my drawing skills. You have much more possibilities when you get more dots later on in the sequence of the cards. The possibilities multiply. For now, we are stuck with the triangle. Can draw very different kinds of triangles. Some look much more aggressive than others. It can face down, it can face up, whatever. You get it. So now we have the first shape from a geometric point of view. I'll keep this to show it to you again next time when we talk about the 4's dog hair. Everything's full of dog hair. Let's look at the trump card, the major arcanum, the Queen. I highly recommend that you read or listen her chapter of the Fool's Tale to understand her better. You can find that on my blog and here on YouTube where I read it out to you. In the chapter, the Fool is at the point where he just met the Nixie who drew him underwater, and that was really scary for the Fool. He was confronted with a shadow, or in our case, probably with our own shadows. Now it's back to the light, and the Fool is on his journey. He's hungry, he's thirsty, and then he sees a beautiful castle. He knocks on the castle gates, and the warden tells him to fuck off. Why? Because they've lost their queen and they are in mourning. And the Fool says, oh, right, that's sad. Yeah, well, then I go, bye. So he's even worse off than before, but then he accidentally meets the Queen in the forest. The Queen is a very motherly figure, wiping away his tears, giving him a warm embrace. And he tells her his story, and at the end she says, oh, well, we desperately need a fool because my husband is overworked from ruling, and so yeah, come with me into the castle. Here's your new job and your new life. So from one second to the next, for the Fool, everything has just turned around. How could that happen with this absolutely terribly boring card? It is undoubtedly the most boring card of the deck, and we can't even see the Queen properly. She's sitting there right at the edge, hidden in her robes, and just look closely. She holds out her right hand in her glove. She's got this kind of Mona Lisa smile. Let me tell you something, the card is not about the Queen. The card is about the castle in the background. And that is the Burg Els castle here in Germany, which is an absolute miracle. It has survived the centuries, it has never been destroyed, and it's still owned by the Els family. And it's your go-to fairy tale castle. You wouldn't believe how beautiful it is. Just Google that. So that inspired the card. And what we see here is an absolutely straight way right into this castle. There are no obstacles. We might just not dare to go there because it's very dark here and we can't see where it ends. It might just be an illusion, but it's not. And the Queen is here to help holding out her hand to us, and we just have to take it. Now, what does that tell us? We don't know this woman, so why should we trust her? Well, the fool trusted her and it paid out for him. She does not have any TNT under her ropes. There's nothing that will explode. And also that we are not only allowed to actively ask for help, but that maybe if we are stuck, we might have to change something about our mindset. As long as we think or want to do it all by ourselves, to play the martyr, we might not get the help or support we actually want and actually need from the universe, from the queen, or from whatever. So maybe the first step, and that's an active choice, is to be honest with ourselves and the universe and say, yeah, I need help. I think that's step 1 in the 12-step programs, like the Alcoholics Anonymous. Let me just Google that. I think I'm onto something big here. Give me a second. Yeah, kind of. I'm stuck in step 3 from the Workaholics Anonymous, which are the same steps pretty much, just with work and not with alcohol. So I forgot about step 1 and step 2. Here they are. Step 1 is we admitted we were powerless over alcohol or whatever, that our lives had become unmanageable. And number 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. So yeah, maybe this is step 1 of the 12-step programs. First, we have to admit that we are powerless, that we can't make it by ourselves, that we need or want help. And then, maybe only then, the help can appear. We are allowed to look closely into the shadows to realize that there's a hand stretched out to us. Only then can we take it. If we don't know that there's an outstretched hand, how are we supposed to take it then? So yeah, that's what the queen is about. And maybe that's also what fertility means. You have to be fertile to these things. If you have a soil in your garden which is not fertile, which is drained of all nutrients, then you can throw as many seeds onto this ground as you want to. You can water them as much as you want to. But if the soil is not fertile, nothing will grow from it. And here something beautiful actually grows over this bridge to the castle. That was the battery of my light dying. Battery. So maybe the queen just asks us to make the decision to trust and to admit that we are sometimes maybe not powerless, but at least in need of some help. Maybe you remember from the last video that all the trump cards in the Creative Tarot have, I think I call them a stash card, that has a question on the front that you can discuss with the cards, and a little spread on the back that you could do to get the answer. We'll do the reading of the spread in the next video. I just want to show it here quickly. For the queen, it says, where do I stand and what do I need now? And the spread goes like this. You draw 3 cards, and the first one tells you where you stand at the moment. The second one tells you something that will help you. And the third one, a bit further away from the first 2, indicates something that you can look for, something that you can find, and something that will help you. I think this is a really cool question and a really cool spread, because before you can move forward, before you can depart, it always helps to know where you actually stand at the moment. When you know your starting point, you can start Google Maps and you can go in the right direction. All right, so that was the queen, her stash card, and her 4 pip cards. I hope you enjoyed this little episode, and maybe I'll see you next time when we do the spread of the queen. Thank you so much for watching.